गौरंगंधारी शिष्य राधा विनोद बिहारी जू की जाय। श्री गोविंद गोपीनाथ मरन मोहन जू की जाय। नित्याल प्रविष्टम विष्णुपार शुतरिषित शिशिमार भक्ति वेदांत नारायण गोसाई महाराज श्रील गुरुदेव की जय। नित्याल प्रविष्टम विष्णुपार शुतरिषित शिशिमार भक्ति वेदांत स्वामी महाराज श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय। नित्याल प्रविष्टम विष्णुपार शुतरिषित शिशिमार भक्ति प्रज्ञान केशव गोसाई महाराज की जय। नित्याल प्रविष्टम विष्णुपार शुतरिषित शिशुमार भक्ति सिद्धांत सरस्वती गोसाई प्रभुपाद की जय। नित्याल प्रविष्ट महाभगवत श्री गोक्षरस बाबूजी महाराज की जय। नित्याल प्रविष्ट नित्याल प्रविष्ट वैष्णव सार्वभौम श्री जगन्नाथ दास बाबूजी महाराज की जय। Shri Rupanu Guru Guru Varga Ki Jai. Did it go live? No, it did. Okay. Oh, it didn't work. That's strange. Let me start over. I don't know why it didn't work. Live stream. Edit. Huh. That's so strange.
It shows live on YouTube, Prabhuji.
Oh, it does?
Mhm.
Okay. Okay. For some reason, it just didn't update on my computer. Okay. Thank you. Jai, where was I? Nityal Pravishtam Vishnupara Shutarashita Shishmar Bhakti Pragyan Keshav Gosai Maharaj Ki Jai. Nityalala Pravishtam Vishnupara Shutarashita Shishmar Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Gosai Prabhupada Ki Jai. Nityalala Pravishta Maha Bhagavat Shilagoksharas Babaji Maharaj Ki Jai. Nityalala Pravishta Shila Satchidananda Bhakti Vinod Thakur Ki Jai. Nityalala Pravishta Vaishnav Sarvabhauma Shila Jagannath Das Babaji Maharaj Ki Jai. Shri Rupanu Gaurya Guru Varga Ki Jai. Shri Rup Sanatan Bhatta Raghunath Shri Jeev Gopal Bhattadas Raghunath Shara Gosai Prabhu Ki Jai. Shri Sarup Damodar Rai Ramanandari Shri Gaur Parshad Vrinda Ki Jai. Naamachay Shila Haridas Thakur Ki Jai. प्रेम से कहो श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधार शिवासरी गौर भक्त वृंद की जाय। श्री क्षेत्र मंडल गौर मंडल ब्रज मंडल मथुर वृंदावन धाम की जाय। सर्व अभिष्ट प्रदत्त गिरिराज महाराज की जाय। श्री राधा कुंड श्याम कुंड की जाय। श्री यमुना देवी गंगा देवी की जाय। श्री तुलसी महारानी वृंद देवी की जय। श्री भक्ति देवी की जय। श्री पूर्णमासी योग माया की जय। श्री गोपेश्वर महादेव की जय। श्री हरि नाम संकीर्तन की जय। अनंत कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की जय। समागत गौर भक्त वृंद की जय। जय श्री जैव-दharma की जय। And I think for those of you on the other side of the world, Jai Shri Putrada Akarashi Titi ki Jai, Titi Palan Kari Bhakta Vrinda ki Jai, Shri Hari Nam Sankirtan ki Jai, Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda ki Jai, Samagata Gaur Bhakta Vrinda ki Jai, Shri Nitai Gaur Premanande Hari Hari Bo. Hare Krishna, Dandavat Pranams. Okay, so we will do the Mangala Charan and then begin. Ajnanatimirandasya ज्ञानञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरुवे नमः। गुरुवे गौरचन्द्राय राधिकायै तदालये कृष्णाय कृष्णभक्ताय तद्भक्ताय नमो नमः। श्रीसिद्धान्तसरस्वतीति विदितो गौरीयगुर्वन्वये भातो भानुरिवा प्रभात गगने योगोरसंकीर्तनाय मायावारतिमिङ्गिलो दरगतान् उद्धृत्य जीवानिमान् कृष्णप्रेमसुधाब्धिगाहनसुखां प्रदत्प्रभुं तं भजे। वन्दे भक्तिविनोदं श्री गौरशक्तिस्वरूपकम् भक्तिशास्त्राज्ञ साम्राज्यं Radharasa-sudhanidhim. Namo Bhakti Vinodaya Satchidanandana Gaura Shakti Swarupaya Rupanugavarayate Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vanchakalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Eva Cha पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः वृषभानुसुतान्वितवामतनुं यमुनातटनागरनन्दसुतं मुरलीकलगीतविनोरपरं भज गोद्रुमकाननकुञ्जविदुम् स्मर गौरगदाधरकेलिकलं भवगौरगदाधरपक्षाचर शृणुगौरगदाधरचारुकथं भज गोद्रुमकाननकुञ्जविदुम् तवैवास्मि तवैवास्मि न जीवामि त्वया विना इति विज्ञाय देवि त्वं नायमां चरणन्तिकम् भक्त्या विहीन अपराधलक्षाय क्षिप्ताश्च कामादितराङ्गमध्ये कृपामयि त्वां शरणं प्रपन्न वृन्दे नमस्ते चरणारविन्दम् भज श्रीकृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानन्द श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासरि गौर भक्तवृन्द हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे हरि बोल दंडवत प्रणाम्स Nri Hari Prabhu, Bhavatarani Mataji, Gokuleshwari Didi, Prajumna Prabhu, Mantramurti Mataji, Yugal Kishore Kishori Didi, Anuradha Mataji, Nitai Mukeshji, and who else? Oh, Jai Shri Didi. Oh, Paran today is before 7:45. Just letting you know. Um, but that's only for people here in India. That's why I'm just mentioning it to Jai Shri. You have to check your local calendar to see what time Paran is for you. Um, Haribo, Premavati Didi, Vidyalalasa Didi, Suman Shilji, and maybe Indira Mataji, and I see some other devotees, Dandavat Pranams. So we are continuing our reading of Jaiva-dharma. We are on chapter 21 we're on reading the topic of Rāgānuga-sādhana-bhakti. So first, let's go over the introduction verse of Daśa-mūla-tattva. One second. Oh wait, one second. Before I start, I'm just going to look at the questions. Presumably, you said yesterday is Akadashi. Yes, it was Akadashi for many of us. That's why I said for those on the other side of the world, like in the US, basically, and that side of the world. I think it's Akadashi today, but it's always you know that Akadashi is always different. Can we eat spinach bhaji? No. Well, Pujunu was asking about what we can eat during Akadashi. One thing is every single, you know, there isn't one set way like for the rules of what we eat and don't eat on Akadashi. It's different for every different in ISKCON it's one way, in one Gaudiya Math it's one way, and another Gaudiya Math it's another way. And so basically everybody should just see how their Guru Maharaj follows and follow like that. Even I've talked about this a few times here before, but like in Chaitanya Gaudiya Math, they don't eat pumpkin or ginger or turmeric on Akadashi. But in Keshivji Gaudiya Math, we eat those three things. In Devananda Gaudiya Math, so even even coming from the same line of Srila Bhaktivedanta Keshav Goswami Maharaj and Devananda Gaudiya Math, they eat tomatoes and cauliflower and all sorts of things like that on Akadashi. But we don't eat that. Like those of us under Srila Gurudev Nityalila Shishimad Bhaktivedanta Narayan Goswami Maharaj, we wouldn't allow any of those things. So it's very individual. Like you just simply follow what your Guru Maharaj instructs, and but there's no like, I mean, the universal rule for everybody is don't eat grains and beans and some other things like that. But for the specific rules, you have to see. Um, right. Okay. So let's begin. Okay, so the first introduction verse of Daśa-mūla. Amnaya prahatatvam harimiha paramam sarvashakting rasabding tadpinnangshangscha jivan prakriti kavalitan tadvimuktangscha bhavar Bheda Bheda Prakasham Sakalamapi Hare Sadhanam Shuddha Bhaktin Sadhyang Tat Pritime Vetyupadishati Janan Gaura Chandra Swayangsa. So our evidence, our praman that establishes the nine prameyas is called Amnaya. Amnaya Praha, or Amnaya Vakya. Those are the teachings of the Vedas received through the Guru Parampara. So that Amnaya establishes these 9 points. The first three are related to Hari. That Hari is the Paramatattva, he is the absolute truth. He is Sarva Shaktam, he is the possessor of all potencies. And he's Rasabdam, he is the ocean of Ras. And then the next three prameyas, which are related to the jiva, that the jivas, jivan is jiva plural, jivan, tad, his, bhina, separated, anksha, parts. The jivas are his separated parts. And there are two types of jivas. There are the baddha jivas, the conditioned jivas, the mukta jivas. The baddha jivas are prakriti kavalitan. They are swallowed by the material energy, prakriti. And the liberated jivas are tad vimuktangs chabal. They are tad vimuktangs. They are liberated from Maya. They are free from that prakriti. Now, and then the next prameya, um, everything in existence, sakalam, everything is a manifestation, is a prakash, a manifestation that is bheda, that is different from Hari, and abheda, non-different from Hari. Our sadhan, our means to attain the goal is Shuddha Bhakti, and our sadhya, the goal, is Priti or Prem, Krishna Prem. Thus, this is how Upadishati instructs the people, Janan, that's how Shri Gaurachandra instructs the people. That's Swayam Bhagavan, Shri Gaurachandra. Okay, so I'm not going to do such a long recap today because yeah, I'd like to move ahead, but wasn't it such a beautiful introduction, like the whole story of Vijay Kumar and Rajanath getting initiated by Raghunath Das Babaji Maharaj is such a beautiful description, heart-melting description. Um, and anyhow, if you weren't here for yesterday's reading, yeah, you can listen to that. It's so beautiful. I'm not going to read it over again, even though I want to. But I'm looking over it. Tridandi Maharaj, he put together some questions and answers for for chapter 21, so we'll go over that. Um, what was Babaji Mahashai's consideration upon agreeing to instruct Vijay Kumar and Vrajanath on Raganuga-bhakti? So he said, Shri Gora Raghunath Das Babaji Maharaj said, Shri Gora Chandra has taken both of you as his own. So there is nothing that should not be given to you. This statement suggests that Raganuga Bhakti is a very advanced tattva, which is also extremely rare, valuable, and confidential. Not only must the Guru be qualified to teach and bestow its graces upon the disciple, but the disciple himself must be qualified to receive such instructions and gifts. The wondrous events which preceded their inquiry abundantly demonstrated that the two Shishyas had received the blessings of the Lord to continue onto the Raga Marg. They even had spurti. Oh God, I have something in my throat. They had spurti of what is it, of Sita Devi, no, of Sachi Devi, Sita Thakurani, and Malini Devi feeding Mahaprabhu when they all took prasad. Like they were at a very high level. So what is the result of chanting a mantra received from a non-Vaishnav guru? Here's a quote from Jaiva-dharma. They had both clearly understood from the revered Babaji's instructions that the jiva goes to hell if he chants mantras received from a guru who is not a Vaishnava. Therefore, according to the regulations of Shastra, when proper discrimination has awakened, he should again take diksha from a Shuddha Vaishnav guru. Particularly, one can achieve perfection in chanting of the chanting of his mantra very quickly by accepting the mantra from a Siddha Bhakta, from a perfected devotee. In order to enter the supreme abode of the Lord, one must accept Harinam and Diksha from whom? Here's a quote from Jaiva-dharma. Vrajanath and Vijay Kumar became firmly convinced that one must accept Harinam and Diksha from a Siddha Mahatma, a great perfected soul, in order to enter the supreme abode. They therefore decided to accept Diksha from Siddha Babaji Maharaj the very next day so as to not lose any time. And before they honored Prasad, well, they wouldn't honor Prasad. They were just waiting. And they wouldn't take any Prasad until they received the remnants of Raghunath Das Babaji Maharaj. So the Vaishnavas, they begged Raghunath Das Babaji Maharaj to please give them his remnants so that they could honor Prasad. And so that was called Maha Prasad. It's the remnants of Guru and Vaishnavas. Mahaprasad is the direct remnants of the Lord, and the remnants of the Vaishnavas are the Mahaprasad. Okay, what is Rag? When materialistic people are in contact with objects of the senses, they naturally become deeply attached to an endless variety of material sense enjoyment. This intense attachment in the heart is called Vishaya Rag. When they glance upon some beautiful object, the eyes become restless, and in the heart there is an attraction, there's a ranjakata towards the objects of beauty, and attachment, rag, for it. Rag bhakti is a state in which in which Krishna becomes the sole object of that rag, not Vishai, but only Krishna. And in the verse that we went over, ishte swarasaki raga. That's an important verse. We should memorize that one. But it's the definition of what raga is. I remember three things. Well, let's see if I can remember what they were. The first was um, Trishna, right? There is intense thirst for. We should just actually look at the verse. I'm just going to try to do it from out. There's intense thirst for attaining the object of your rag, and then it was swarasiki. That means it was completely spontaneous, just like a natural affection, and parama vishtata. There is complete absorption in the object. So it's thirst, spontaneous attraction, or attachment, and complete absorption. Parama, supremely intense absorption. Though that was raga. Okay, explain the difference between Ragatmika Bhakti and Raganuga Bhakti. Raga is the absolute, it's the parama, and undivided swarasiki, absorption, avishtata, in one's own particular object of worship. When devotion to Krishna comes to the stage of ragamai, it is called Ragatmika Bhakti. In summary, it can be said that intense hankering for Krishna that is saturated with prem, which is premamai, is called Ragatmika Bhakti. The sadhak who has developed greed towards the beautiful service mood, the seva, of a particular Vrajvasi, always remembers and meditates on his seva to that personality. He is absorbed in the mutual pastimes of his beloved Sri Krishna with that Vrajvasi, and he constantly resides in Vraj, either physically or within the mind, having agreed to obtain his or her bhav. He follows that Vrajvasi's example, and always renders seva in two ways. Externally, he serves as a practicing sadhak, and internally, he renders seva with the bhavs of his siddha deha. This is the process of Rāgānuga Bhakti. Serve externally in your form as a sadhak and internally in your siddha deha. That's Rāgānuga Bhakti. And that's not Ragatmika Bhakti. Ragatmika Bhakti means that who has rag. It's more like that's just following that. Right? There's three. There's raga means that intense spontaneous attraction and attachment and absorption in the that's a raga of one of the Vrajavasis that the Vrajavasis have for Krishna, that's a rag. And then that which contains that rag is ragatmika. And then one who wants to follow that ragatmika bhakta, or that ragatmika Vrajavasi, like that is called raganuga. That means following. So rag is the thing, ragatmika who has that rag, and raganuga following one who has that rag. Those are the three words. Anuga means to follow. And Raganuga Bhakti is when you are in your sadhak deha, you're performing your practice, and in your siddha deha, you are. So it's already a very high stage to be performing Raganuga Bhakti. And I was just reading, actually, maybe we should read this now. I was looking at Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur's Rāgāvarma Chandrika. And this is just quashing the idea that people have where, oh, Raganuga Bhakti means that no, you don't follow any rules or regulations of the Shastra. It's just, you know, it's, but no, actually, in Raganuga Bhakti, you are also following the rules and regulations in the Shastra. Not all of them, not like in Vaidhi Bhakti. Vaidhi Bhakti, the only reason you're following, like everything is induced not by lobh, by greed, but by, oh, this is what the Shastras say. I have to follow this. I have to follow that, and they're fully like. But Raganuga are also following the scriptural rules, but maybe not every single one. Let's look though at, yeah, I wanted to read a couple of sections from Raghavarma Chandrika, and then we'll start reading from Jaiva-dharma. I think this is really important. This is from Raghavarma Chandrika is divided into two parts. So this is the first part of Raghavarma Chandrika. It's text 12. It's almost like towards the end of the first part. So Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, he says, what does he say? Where I found it before. Okay, here it is. It is understood from the scriptures that on the path of spontaneous devotion, there is no fault if some of the limbs of sadhan are not followed completely. Okay, so there's no fault if some of the limbs of sadhan are not followed completely. Um, and I'm skipping some of this. Okay, here. So, shortcomings in this is a quote from Srimad Bhagavatam in the 11th canto. Shortcomings in one's performance of certain limbs of bhakti do not prove detrimental in his devotional path, in his bhakti dharma, even for one who has just begun to follow it. Although we'll hear later, three limbs are definitely essential. Shravan, Kirtan, and Smaran, you have, and no, the five, those five are actually essential. But then some of the other ones that you don't need to do. Yeah. So, in addition, the Brahma Yamala declares, Shruti Smriti Puranadi Pancharatra Viding Vina Akantiki Hare Bhaktir Utpata Yaiva Kalpate. This is an important verse. It says, even though one may be engaged in exclusive devotion to the Lord, if one transgresses the regulations of scriptures like the Shruti, Smriti, Puranas, and the Pancharatra, his bhakti will simply be the cause of disturbance. Utpat. So this is a very important verse. When a sadhak is overcome by devotional greed, he is no longer controlled by the regulations of the scriptures. However, if in his bhajan he continues to follow those scriptural instructions that are unfavorable to his moods, such as meditation and dwarka and so on, considering them to be compulsory, he will become an associate of the queens of dwarka upon attaining perfection. The scriptures provide proof for this. So we follow the Rāgānuga sadhak follows the rules of scriptures. If he doesn't, then it just causes disturbance. But he doesn't follow all the rules, like meditating on dwarka. And then here Srila Vishnu, this is very important. In Ragamarg, one is inspired by genuine greed and serves according to vidhi. See, he still serves according to vidhi. So anybody who says, oh, Raganuga means that they just don't follow any rules and regulations, that's not correct. He serves according to vidhi, the regulated path. But he's inspired by genuine greed. That's the difference. Whereas in Vidhimarg, one serves being prompted by the words of the scriptures. So the Rāgānuga sadhak is inspired by genuine greed, but he still follows the Vidhi. And Vidhimarg, they are prompted by the words of scriptures. The previously quoted Shruti Smriti Puranadi verse from the Nara Pancharatra, which we just went through, if he doesn't follow the rules of Shruti Smriti, then he only causes disturbance. That provides evidence that serving Sri Krishna without following regulations causes disturbance only. And then in our Srila Gurudev's commentary, Chandrika Chakravarti, at the end of the commentary, he writes on this point very nice, beautifully. He says, okay. Actually, let's read from here. In Rāgānuga-bhakti, so this is my Gurudev now, his commentary. In Rāgānuga-bhakti, if a person takes shelter of the essential practices, such as Shravan and Kirtan, which are considered to be the very body of Bhagavad-dharma, of devotional service to the Supreme Lord, there is no fault if he fails to observe a few of the other limbs. One important point to be noted here is that the 9 kinds of bhakti, Shravan, Kirtan, and so on, its 5 limbs, Sadhu Sangha, Nam, Kirtan, Bhagavat Shravan, Vrajvas, and Shri Vigraha Seva, or its 3 limbs, Shravan, Kirtan, and Smaran, are not only the main limbs of bhakti, but are actually the origin of all the other limbs. That is, besides being the primary practice, they are also the goal. They are the primary practice and they are the goal. On the other hand, the previously mentioned processes of nyas, mudra, meditation on a dwarka, and so on, they do not constitute that sadhan which has the nature of the original limbs. They are merely limbs of archan, which is one of the primary limbs. Therefore, as they are unfavorable to the cultivation of the moods of Rāgānuga bhakti, exclusion of these activities is not harmful. However, any neglect of the primary limbs, which are in fact the original or primary limbs, will prove harmful. So he's clarifying that some of the these primary limbs you have to follow them. Yeah, but just some of the limbs you don't need to follow. Especially when one is absorbed in the principal limbs of hearing, chanting, remembrance, and so on, any laxity in observing other limbs is not considered a fault. But these ones, yes, is definitely considered a fault. And then now this is a very important point. Some people have the mistaken belief that it is not necessary to follow the rules and regulations delineated in the Vedic scriptures or to accept Srimad Bhagavatam, the crown jewel of all evidence. They think that one can become a rasik devotee by practicing intense, single-pointed bhakti according to one's own whim. Due to their firm conviction in this misconception, they fail to follow the indispensable practices of taking shelter of a bona fide spiritual master, understanding the elevated devotional sentiments described in Srimad Bhagavatam, and observing vows such as those prescribed for the holy day of Ekadashi and the month of Kartik. They impudently advertise themselves as being rasik, and they take pride in being devotees on the path of spontaneous devotion. To emphasize this point, the verse Shruti Smriti Puranadi has been cited in text 12. Okay. All right. Now let's continue on with our reading of Jaiva-dharma. So, actually, let's finish going through this. So, Tridandi Maharaj is writing, what are the three working principles of Vaidhi and that of Ragatmika Bhakti? The principles at work in Vaidhi Bhakti are fear, respect, and reverence, whereas the only principle at work in Ragatmika Bhakti is lobh, or greed, in relation to Sri Krishna's Leela. Who has the qualification, who has the adhikar for practicing Rāgānuga Bhakti? How are his or her thoughts governed during sadhan? The bhav of the Vrajavasis towards Krishna is the supreme example of Ragatmika Bhakti. One who has the great fortune to have greed, to have lobh, to obtain that same bhav, that same sentiment as the Vrajavasis have towards Krishna, that person has the adhikar for Rāgānuga Bhakti. A person who has the adhikar for Vaidhi Bhakti tests everything on the platform of intelligence, knowledge of Shastra, and reasoning. And when he hears Krishna Katha, he only accepts it if these three support it. However, there is no such consideration in Ragmarg, for intelligence, knowledge of Shastra, and reasoning are not desired on this path. All that is needed is the greed for the sentiments of the Vrajavasis. What are the sweet bhavs of the Vrajavasis towards Krishna? Is it possible for me to obtain such bhavs? How can this be obtained? This intense yearning is the symptom of greed, and one who does not have it does not have the adhikar for Rāgānuga Bhakti. This you should understand. Those are the words of Raghunath Das Babaji Maharaj. What is the process of Rāgānuga Bhakti? The sadhak who has developed greed towards the beautiful service mood, the seva of a particular Vrajavasi, of a particular Vrajavasi, always remembers and meditates on his seva to that personality. He is absorbed in the mutual pastimes of his beloved Sri Krishna with that Vrajavasi, and he constantly resides in Vraj, either physically or within the mind, having agreed to obtain his or her bhav. He follows that Vrajavasi's example and always renders seva in two ways. Externally, he serves as a practicing sadhak, and internally, he renders seva with the bhavs of his siddhadeha. This is the process of Rāgānuga Bhakti. Now, Tridandi Maharaj is saying, explain the outward similarity among those who practice the angas of Vaidhi Bhakti and Rāgānuga Bhakti. So the angas of Vaidhi Bhakti, Shravanam, Kirtanam, and so on, are also included in the Rāgānuga sadhak's practice. So the external activities are the same. The sadhak follows the eternal residence of Vraj, and consequently, he tastes the eternal bliss of service. At that time, he observes the angas of Vaidhi Bhakti with his external body. Why is Rāgānuga Bhakti so rare in this world? Ruchi for following in the footsteps of the Vrajavasis is only awakened in those hearts that are nirguna, that are beyond material attributes, completely beyond the modes of material nature. That is why the greed for Rāgānuga Bhakti is supremely rare and the root of supreme auspiciousness. How many kinds of Ragatmika Bhakti are there? And this is where we got up to yesterday. There are two kinds of Ragatmika Bhakti. That which is based on transcendental lust to satisfy Krishna, Kamarupa, and that which is based on relationship, Sambandha-rupa. So now let's hear more details about what is Kamarupa and Sambandha-rupa. Let me just open this up now. Okay, so Rajanath asks, how many kinds of Ragatmika Bhakti are there? Babaji, there are two kinds of Ragatmika Bhakti. That which is based on transcendental lust to satisfy Krishna, Kamarup, like of those in Madhur Ras, and those which are based on relationship, different relationships with Krishna, like being Krishna's mother, having a parental figure of Krishna, towards Krishna, being a parental figure towards Krishna, or being one of his friends, or one of his servants, like that. So based on that type of relationship. One is based on wanting to, you know, wanting to satisfy Krishna with all one's body, like the Vrajagopis, like that. That's Kamarupa. And the other is based on all these other relationships. Yeah. Vatsalya, Sakya, and Dasya. So, Vrajanath, please explain the difference between Kamarupa and Sambandha-rupa. Babaji, it is said in Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 7, Chapter 1, verses 30 to 31, Kama dveshar bhayat snehar yatha bhakteshvare mana avesha tar aghang hitva bahavastar gating gata kopya kamar bhayat kangso tveshachchaidya nripa sambandad vrishnaya snehad yuyam bhaktya vayang vibho. Many people have attained the supreme by complete absorption of the mind in devotion through lusty desires, through kam, through envy, through dvesh, through fear, bhaya, or affection, sneha, and by giving up the faulty aspects of those sentiments. The gopis have obtained the supreme by fixing their minds on Krishna through kam, Kamsa by bhoy, by fear, Shishupal and other kings by dvesh, by hatred towards Krishna, the Yadus by family relationships, by sambandha, you, the Pandavas, by affection, by sneha, and we sages, Narad and other rishis, by bhakti. 6 principles are mentioned here, namely kam, lust, bhai, fear, dvesh, envy, sambandha, that's family relationship, sneha, affection, and bhakti, devotion. 2 of these, bhai, fear, and dvesh, envy, should not be imitated because they are unfavorable sentiments. Now, there are 2 kinds of sneha. The first is associated with Sakyabhav and is included in Vaidhi Bhakti. The second is related to Prem and has no application in the field of sadhan. Therefore, sneha has no place in the practice of Rāgānuga-sādhana-bhakti. Interesting. The words bhaktya-vayam in that verse that we just recited, the first one, that means we. Oh no, it's the second one that we just recited in this Srimad Bhagavatam verse. It means we, that's Narad and other sages, we have attained the supreme by bhakti. The word bhakti here should be understood to mean Vaidhi Bhakti and may refer either to the Vaidhi Bhakti practices of the sages such as Narad or to devotion mixed with gyan. The words tad gatim gata mean that many people have attained the supreme. It is important to have a clear understanding of this sentence. A single ray of sunlight, a kiran, a ray, and the sun itself are one and the same substance. They are the same vastu. Similarly, Brahma and Krishna are also one and the same substance. Brahma is simply Krishna's bodily effulgence. The Jnani Bhaktas merge into that Brahman existence. And so do Krishna's enemies when he has personally killed them. Some of them attain sarupyapas, a semblance of sarupya, or having a form similar to Bhagavan's, and remain immersed in the bliss of Brahma. According to the Brahmanda Puran, they stay in Siddhaloka, the liberated world beyond the material world. Except what about Putana? Putana became one of Krishna's milkmaids, right? Um, Two kinds of jivas reside in Siddhaloka. Those who have attained perfection through the cultivation of knowledge, who are Jnana Siddha, and asuras who have been killed by Sri Bhagavan. Amongst these Gyan Siddhas, some who are extremely fortunate become the ashray of Rag, the abode of attachment for Krishna, and they worship his lotus feet and thus obtain the ultimate aim of Krishna Prem. Okay, so that answers the question, right? No, it's saying Gyan Siddhas. Huh. Anyways, in this way, they gain entry into the group of Krishna's dear associates. As the sun rays and the sun are considered one substance, similarly, there is no difference between Krishna's bodily effulgence, known as Brahma, and Krishna himself. In other words, the words Tad Gatim mean attaining Tat, that is Krishna, Krishna Gati. The Gyanis and the Asuras achieve Sayuja Mukti, and both attain Brahma, which is the rays of Krishna's effulgence, Krishna Kiran. The Shuddha Bhaktas, the pure devotees, they develop Prem and attain service to Krishna, who is the root of all existence. Now, by removing Bhaya, Dvesha, Sneha, and Bhakti from the above mentioned list of 6 characteristics, we are left with Kam and Sambandha. Therefore, Kam and Sambandha are the only bhavs that are applicable in Ragamarg. Thus, there are 2 types of Ragamaya Bhakti, Kamarupa and Sambandharupa. Very interesting. I never knew that before. So actually, these terms that Rupa Goswami used are directly in Srimad Bhagavatam. It's in this verse in Canto 7, Chapter 1, verse 30. Here, Kamad, Kamarupa, and where was the other one? Sambandharupa. There, Sambandhad. And all the other ones. So there's Kama, Dvesha, Bhaya, Sneha, all those are not. No, sorry. Anyways, whatever. Okay. That's cool though. I learned something new just now. Rajanath, what is the Sarup? What is the intrinsic characteristics of Kam Rupa Bhakti? Babaji, the word Kama signifies Sambhog Trishna, the desire for Sambhog with Krishna. And Sambhog means like an intimate meeting with Krishna. I'm not sure that's not the no. Sambhog means a lot more than that actually. But anyhow, this Sambhog Trishna changes into Ragatmika Bhakti, and from this, causeless loving behavior arises. In other words, Priti Sambhog is to satisfy Krishna's desires. All one's endeavors are made solely for Krishna's happiness and prosperity, without any desire for one's own happiness. Even if there is an effort for one's own pleasure, it is in accordance with Krishna's happiness. This unprecedented love is only found in the female residents of Raj. The gopis' prem is endowed with a particular wonderful sweetness, a madhurya, and gives rise to many playful sports and pastimes. That is why learned scholars refer to this unique condition of love as kam, as lust. Although in reality, the gopis' kam is aprakrita, transcendental, and completely bereft of even the slightest trace of fault. It's the opposite of the kam in this world. The kam of the conditioned souls is full of fault and contemptible, whereas the love of the gopis is so transcendently pure and attractive that even such dear bhaktas as Uddhav also desire to attain it. Nothing can compare with the gopis' kam. It can only be compared with itself. Kama Rupa Ragatmika Bhakti is found only in Raj, and nowhere else. Kubja's calm in Mathura is not really calm, but merely rati. It's merely just, some kind of attraction. Or um, the calm that I am describing has no relation with that of Kubja. Rajanath, what is Sambandha Rupa Bhakti? Babaji, Sambandha Rupa Bhakti is devotion to Krishna in which one assumes an abhiman, a conception and identity, such as, I am Krishna's father, or I am Krishna's mother. In Vraj, the devotion of Nanda Maharaj and Mother Yashoda are examples of Sambandha Rupa Bhakti. One can attain one's inherent swarup in unalloyed prem by developing the bhavs of either Kamarupa or Sambandha Rupa. Therefore, both of these bhavs are the shelter of Nitya Siddha Bhaktas. These have only been mentioned in the analysis of Rāgānuga-Bhakti. Now, you can see that there are two types of Rāgānuga-sādhana-bhakti. There's Kamanuga and Sambandhanuga. That following this kam, this transcendental lust. I don't like the word lust. Anyways, there's probably a better word than lust. But anyways, transcendental kam, or that which follows this transcendental relationship with Krishna in Vatsalya, Sakya, or Dasya. Rajanath, please explain the nature of Kamanuga and Rāgānuga-sādhana-bhakti. Babaji, Kamanuga is a desire to follow the Kama Rupa Bhakti, of which there are two types, Sambhog Ichamai and Tat Tad Bhava Ichamai. Vrajanath, what is Sambhog Ichamai? Babaji, Sambhog Ichamai means the desire to engage in playful sportive pastimes, keli, with Krishna. Krishna's transcendental sportive pastimes with the gopis are called Sambhog. Vrajanath, what is Tat Tad Bhava Ichamai? Babaji, Tat Tad Bhava Ichamai is a desire to experience the sweet bhavs that the gopis of Vraj have towards Krishna. And this is a very big topic. What is Sambhog Ichamai and what is Tat Tad Bhava Ichamai? There's been many different opinions and it's a whole thing. Yeah, anyways, we won't get into this now, but at some point it would be nice to go through very clearly what is Tat Tad Bhava Ichamai. So Babaji, when a bhakta sees Krishna's beautiful deity form and hears Shri Krishna's Madhur Lila Katha, his sweet pastimes, an intense hankering arises in his heart to experience those bhavs. And he then engages himself in the sadhan of Kamanuga and Sambandhanuga Rāgānuga Bhakti. So that's how these two kinds of Rāgānuga sadhana bhakti arise. They arise when a bhakta sees Krishna's beautiful deity form and hears Krishna's sweet pastimes. Then an intense hankering arises in his heart to experience those bhavs. Vrajanath, Shri Krishna is male, he is Purush, and the gopis are all female, they're all Prakriti. As far as I understand, only females can have the adhikar for Kamanuga Rāgānuga Bhakti. So how can a male obtain this bhav? Babaji, jivas in this world are the abodes of 5 different types of relationships: Shanta, Dasya, Sakya, Vatsalya, and Madhurya, according to their own inherent swabhav. Of these 5, Dasya, Sakya, Vatsalya, and Madhurya are found in the residence of Vraj. Actually, every time we see this word Madhurya, it should be Madhur, not a long A, and no Y. So just make it short A and take away the Y. I checked in the original Jaiva-dharma, and that's how it is. It's Madhur. So I'm going to start saying that. Every time we see Madhurya, I'm going to say Madhur, because that's how it is in Jaiva-dharma. That's how it is in all of my Gurudev's books. and most places it's always madhur. And I don't know why in all English books they always make it madhurya. But generally, madhurya is used in reference to like there's audarya and madhurya, or madhurya and aishwarya. Usually, madhurya is used in reference to that, and madhur is used in reference to the mood of amorous love. Okay, so sorry, let's just go back. So jivas in this world are the abode of five different types of relationships: Shantatasya, Sakya, Vatsalya, Madhur, according to their own inherent swabhav. Okay, so they already have this swabhav, this nature in one of these types of relationships. Of these, Dasya, Sakya, Vatsalya, and Madhurya, or Madhur, are found in the residents of Raj, so no Shanta. Dasya, Sakya, and Vatsalya, with fatherly instincts, are male bhavs, and those who are so inclined serve Krishna in male spiritual forms. The two rasas in which the female bhav is intrinsic are Vatsalya with motherly instincts and Shringar ras, or Madhur ras, the mellow of amorous love. And those who are of this nature engage in Krishna's service as females. These two kinds of swabhav exist both in Sri Krishna's eternal associates and in sadhaks who are in their anugatya, who are in their following. Vrajanath. How do those who have a male form practice Rāgānuga-sādhana with the bhav with the bhav of Vrajagopis? Babaji. How do those who have male form practice Rāgānuga-sādhana with the bhava of Vrajagopis? Babaji. Those who have developed ruchi for Shringa ras according to their adhikar may be male outwardly, but their spiritual body, their siddha sharir, has a female form. In that siddha sharir, in that spiritual form, they engage in Krishna's service, following in the footsteps of a particular gopi according to their ruchi, and their inherent swabhav, their inherent nature. The Padma Puran describes males who possess this kind of bhav. When the sages of Dandakaranya saw Sri Ramachandra's unparalleled beauty, they performed bhajan with a desire to get him as their husband. Later, they attained gopi forms in Gokul Lila and engaged in Sri Hari service by Kama Rupa Ragamai Bhakti. Vrajanath. We have heard that the women of Gokul are Nitya Siddhas who appear in Vraj in order to give nourishment to Krishna's pastimes. If this is true, how is it consistent with the description of the Padma Purana? Babaji. Those who were Nitya Siddha gopis easily participated in the ras dance with Sri Krishna. Others had taken birth as gopis after attaining siddhi through Kamarupa sadhana bhakti. So they weren't eternally perfected, they attained perfection through their sadhana. So according to the shloka Ta Varyamana Patibhi Pitribhi Bhratri Bandhubi from Srimad Bhagavatam 10:29-8, they attains their aprakrit swarup, their transcendental nature, by rendering manasa seva, that means service within the mind, to Krishna. These were mainly the maharshis of Dandakaranya. So they didn't get to engage in those maharshis of Dandakaranya. They attained perfection through performing Rāgānuga Bhakti. They weren't eternally in Goloka Vraj, and they I guess most of them or all of them, I don't know, they weren't able to enter into the Ras Lila just then, but they had to perform Manasa Seva, service through the mind with Krishna, towards Krishna. Rajanath, will you please explain who are the Nitya Siddha Gopis and who are the Sadhan Siddha Gopis? Who are the eternally perfected and who are the ones who have attained perfection through sadhan? Babaji, Srimati Radharani is Krishna's Sarup Shakti, and the 8 principal sakis are her first Kaya Vyuha, her first bodily expansions. The other sakis follow behind as her further Kaya Vyuha. All these sakis are Nitya Siddha, they are eternally perfected. They have never done any sadhan to attain that position. They were already there for eternity. They are Surup Shakti Tattva. They are not Jiva Tattva. Okay, so they're not Jivas. All those gopis are not jivas. The general Sakis of Raj, who attained perfection by performing sadhan, they follow Srimati Radharani's eternal associates, their Srimati Radhika's parikar, and they are known as sadhan siddha jivas. Having been imbued with the potency of Hladini Shakti, they attained salokya, they attained residence in Vraja's transcendental pastimes, with the Nitya Siddha Sakis of Vraj. Jivas who attain perfection by the path of Rāgānuga sadhan and Shringar ras are included amongst the sadhan siddha sakis. Those who only serve Krishna according to the principles of Vidhi Marg and with Rirangsha, that means desire to enjoy with Krishna for their own pleasure, they gain entry into the group of Krishna's queens in Dwarka. One cannot become a follower of the Vrajagopis through the Vidhi Marg alone. However, those who behave externally according to the principles of Vidhi Marg, but who internally practice the sadhana of Rag Marg, they also obtain Vraj Seva. Rajanath. How can one fulfill the desire for enjoyment, Raman, or Rirangsa? Rirangsa. Those who have the mood of Krishna's queens, Mahishi Bhav, towards him, they desire to give up the quality of shamelessness, drishtata, and they engage in Krishna's service just as a housewife, a grihini. They do not want to serve like the beautiful Vrajasundaris. Rajanath, please explain this subject more clearly. We'll end with this. Mahishi Bhav, that's the mood of the queens of Dwarka. Mahishi Bhav is the sadhan seva, in which one cherishes the spiritual self-conception that Krishna is one's own husband. The relationship that is established with Sri Krishna when one attains this Mahishi Bhav, this mood of the queens of Dwarka, is known as swakiya, marital love. Those who have Mahishi Bhav in the stage of sadhan, they do not experience the parakiya ras, the paramour mellow of the gopis of Vraj. And this is why they cannot follow the gopis in parakiya bhav. Therefore, the only way to attain Vrajaras is to practice Rāgānuga-sādhana-bhakti in the parakiya bhav, the paramour mellow, mood of paramour love. Rajanath, by your mercy, I have understood up to this point. Now please explain the difference between Kam and Prem. If the two are non-different, then can't Prem Rupa be used instead of Kama Rupa? The word Kam sounds somewhat harsh. Yeah, the word lust sounds somewhat harsh. Why can't you just say Prem? Why do you have to say Kam, lust? So we will hear the answer to this tomorrow. How much is left in this chapter? I just want to see, but I'm going to stop now. I'm just looking to see. I was just mentioning that, wasn't I? I was saying the word lust sounds kind of harsh. Yeah. Okay, we're very close to the end. Just like a couple more pages, but we will read that all tomorrow because I don't want to go over time. Oh, this looks really nice though. Great. So we will finish this chapter. Um, and then also we will begin the commencement. We'll begin Prayojan Tattva. We'll go through, yeah. So cool. I'm excited for tomorrow. All right. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Nitai Gaur, Hari Bol, Nitai Gaur, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Nitai Gaur, Hari Bol. जय श्री सच्चिनंदन गौर हरि की जय। श्री श्री राधा विनोद बिहारी जू की जय। श्री गोविंद गोपीनाथ मदन मोहन जू की जय। जय श्रील गुरुदेव की जय। जय श्रील परम गुरुदेव की जय। जय श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय। श्री रूपानु गौरिया गुरु वर्ग की जय। श्री रूप सनातन भट्ट रघुनाथ श्री जीव गोपाल भट्ट दास रघुनाथ शारद गोसाई प्रभु की जय। जय श्री हरि नाम जय स्वापाशाद श्री गौर नित्यानंद प्रभु की जय। श्री राधा कृष्ण गोप गोपीगान की जय। श्री गिरिराज महाराज की जय। तुलसी महारानी वृंद देवी की जय। जय श्री जैव-धर्म की जय। जय श्री रघुनाथ दास बाबा जी की जय। विजय कुमार ब्रजनाथ की जय। जय श्री सच्चिदानंद भक्ति विनोद ठाकुर की जय। जय श्री भक्ति विनोद ठाकुर की जय। जय रूप रघुनाथ की जय। जय श्री हरि नाम संकीर्तन की जय। अनंत कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की जय। समागत गौर भक्त वृंद की जय। श्री निताय गौर प्रेमानंदे हरि हरि बोल। वृंदाय तुलसी देवाय प्रियाय केशवाश्च कृष्ण भक्ति प्रदेवी सत्यवताय नमो नमः। वंश कल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिंधुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। धन्यवाद प्रणाम नरी हरि प्रभु भवतारिणी माता जी सर्वेश्वरी माता जी। जय श्री दीदी नीताय मुकेश जी, सुमन शील जी, विद्या लाला से दीदी, प्रेमावती दीदी, राघव पंडित प्रभु, वृंदा दीदी, प्रद्युम्न प्रभु, मंत्रमूर्ति माता जी, गंगा माता जी, and I see there are a lot of other devotees. Maybe Indira Mata ji is there, but yeah, around there are 9 devotees on YouTube and Facebook right now. So Dandavat pranams to all of you, and also pranams to anybody watching in the future. All right. Is there anything anybody wants to mention before we end our reading for today? All right. So I'll see you all tomorrow. Yeah, let you see Maganda. It's just been here very peacefully this whole program. I actually, Suwa let him into my room at like 4 o'clock this morning. So he woke me up this morning. It was just, this is the longest he's ever been away from his mother. Usually he's with her 24/7. But anyhow. All right. Dandavat pranams. See you all tomorrow. Jai Shri Radhe.